Dirt track racing is a type of auto racing performed on oval tracks. It began in the United States before World War I and became widespread during the 20s and 30s.
Well, if you go back to the earliest auto races, they were done on dirt. The horseless carriage, I guess, if you will, in the late 1800s, were the first cars, and it only came natural that you would race against one another to find out who had the fastest or the best. Actually, a lot of original automobile contests were more about reliability and endurance than they were speed. But naturally, I guess the human element of it, everybody wants to see who's the fastest. And at the beginning, it was already, I guess it was easier for the promoters and the race organizers to use existing tracks, and there were already horse tracks. So half-mile and 1 mile horse racing tracks in the late 1800s became the first race tracks for cars.
Besides dealing with their cars, racers face problems due to weather conditions as well.
To me, sunshine's the worst because it dries the racetrack out. I'd rather have, like last weekend, it stayed pretty heavy and tacky. The longer the summer goes, the drier the racetracks get. And the drier they get, the slicker they get, and the car's hard. It's just harder to drive a slick racetrack.
Here are some things that go into building a race car and preparing for a race.
People think races are won and lost on the racetrack, and I've even heard people say they're won and lost in the pit area, and no, they're won and lost in the garage, Monday through Friday in the preparation. And the one thing I have trouble with, this is a sport that there's really no money for what we spend versus what it pays. People would think we're crazy. The engines in these kind of cars are typically in the $30,000 to $40,000 range. The tires are hundreds of dollars, and a lot of times the right rear tire only runs one night. And we're racing for anywhere from $1,500 to $5,000 to win at the most. Some of the big national events will pay $100,000 to win, but those are one-of-a-kind races, and those guys are on million-dollar budgets running those races. For guys like myself, your average dirt track racer, you're running for hundreds or thousands of dollars a weekend, but for what we spend. So we don't have the money to pay for help, like for pit crew help. So the largest obstacle for me preparing for a race is just the fact that I'm a father. I've got a teenage daughter. I have a job, I have a small business I have to run, and then I have to find time through the week to also take care of the race car, which is almost like another full-time job.
You buy a pre-built chassis, and then you start assembling parts to build the car. I have several guys that help me. I work on the car also. This takes a lot of time and a lot of money.
The feeling of winning.
If you're running first and the white flag comes out and you're just hoping everything stays together and nothing happens for another lap. I mean, there's just not a feeling like it. I mean, a lot of people go out and race and don't know what that's like, but once you get that first taste of a win, I mean, the fun part's out, because now that you get a first taste of a win, that's what you're going for every weekend. I mean, it's kind of like throwing meat to a piranha. I mean, it's just, just to go out and race to me anymore, it's not, I just don't want to go race. I want to go to win.